the various components of the environment has been extensively studied, and these are the various things, or these are the various rules, or these are the various conclusions which have been drawn as to how the flow of energy occurs. So let's talk about the flow of energy in the various trophic levels. So we say the green plants in a terrestrial ecosystem, they capture only about 1% of the sunlight that falls on their leaves and converts it into food energy. Children, the plants, are receiving the sunlight, and it's the chlorophyll which has the capability of trapping this solar light and converts it into the organic food. But not all the sunlight that is falling on the plants is used up. It's only 1% of the energy of the sunlight that is being used up by the plants. So we say this is the 1% law, right? So when the green plants are eaten by the primary consumers, a great deal of energy is lost to heat to the environment. The same amount goes into the digestion or in doing work, and the rest goes towards the growth and reproduction. So what is happening? Now let's understand this point, that when the green plants are eaten up by the primary consumers, now these primary consumers also need that food for themselves, and they are going to be a source of food for the next level. But not what all they have is going to be available to the next level, because they would also be using the energy which they have consumed as food. So where does it go? A part of it is lost as a heat to the environment. Some goes for digestion and doing the work which that consumer is going to be doing, and the rest goes towards the growth and production of that organism in that trophic level. So how much is available? So only an average of 10% of the food which is eaten up is turned into its own body, and it is made available for the next trophic level. So you can say that 90% of the energy which is being used, which is being just left at that trophic level, and only 10% is going to be passed on to the next trophic level for the next consumer, or for the next trophic level. So this is said to be the 10% law, right? So therefore 10% can be taken as the average value of the amount of the organic matter that is present at each step, and it reaches the next level of the consumers, right? Since some of the energy is available for the next level of consumers, food chains. So what is happening? From one to another, 10% of the previous one is going to be available. So once the fourth trophic level reaches, the energy is available to that fourth trophic level is going to be very less, because the loss of energy at each step is so great that very little usable energy remains after the four trophic levels. So what would happen? That means we will not be having more than four trophic levels, because the energy is decreasing at each trophic level, and finally at the fourth trophic level the energy available is very less as compared to the first trophic level. So as a result, we do not have very long food chains. So we have the food chains mainly of 4 or 5 trophic levels, because the consumable energy is decreasing at each trophic level, as only 10% is available to the next trophic level. So we say, what would you conclude from here? That we have more number of organisms at the lower trophic levels, because more energy is available at lower trophic levels of an ecosystem, and the greatest number is that of the producers. So as the length and the complexity of the food chain, it varies greatly. So each organism is generally eaten by only two or. Now what happens? Now in a food chain, like each organism is not only going to be eaten up by the organisms within that food chain, but also from the organisms of the other food chains. So each organism is generally eaten by two or more kinds of organisms, which in turn are eaten by several other organisms. So what do we have? Instead of a straight line food chain, the relationship can be shown as a series of branching lines, which is called as a food web. So you can see over here, these are the food chains, right? And over here you can see this is a picture of a food web. So we can see that there are various organisms in one food chain which are having the organisms from the other food chains which are feeding on them. So this is a kind of a food web which has been formed, and this is comprising of many food chains, right? So food chain is a single line, whereas food web is a cross linkage, or which shows the series of branching lines, which is called as food web. So what is food web? It's a network of several food chains which is present in an ecosystem, okay? And that is what, the complexity really increases, and they each trophic level organism can be eaten up by many other organisms of the other food chain. So we say that this is kind of a food web. Now, from the energy flow diagram, what are the two things which has become clear? So children, once the energy which is like the food which is being prepared by the plants is formed in the form of organic food, that is starch. Once the herbivores consume that food, the energy cannot go back to the plants. Similarly, when the carnivores they consume the herbivores, whatever energy they've consumed cannot be given back to the herbivores, and so on. So what do we conclude? We conclude that the flow of energy is unidirectional, that is only from bottom to the top. The energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the solar input, and energy which passes on to the herbivores does not come back to the autotrophs, and so on. So as the energy is moving progressively to the various trophic levels, it is no longer available to the previous level. Also, the energy available at each trophic level gets diminished, as we've already done, progressively, because of the loss of energy at each level. As we've done, it is only 10% which is being made available to the next trophic level. So that is the flow of energy in a food chain is unidirectional. Okay. Now, these are, you can say, the various laws or the various important points of the flow of energy. Now, another thing which is being seen in the flow of energy is that from one organism to another, that some of the harmful chemicals, they enter our bodies through the food chain. So you've seen in your previous classes as to how the water bodies, how the soil, they are being polluted. And one of the reasons is the use of several pesticides and other chemicals. So, children, for better production of the crops, the farmers are relentlessly using the various fertilizers or the pesticides for protection of our crops from diseases and pests. And now these chemicals are, what is happening is, they are either washed down into the soil or they get into the water bodies. Then from the soil, they are absorbed by the plants along with water and minerals. And from the water, they are taken up by the aquatic plants. Now, once they are into the plant body, so what do? They enter the food chain, right? Now, these chemicals are non-biodegradable. You've done in your previous classes also, there are two types of chemicals, two types of materials. Biodegradable, which can be decomposed by the decomposers and they can be recycled, and non-biodegradable, which cannot be decomposed by the decomposers. Now, these chemicals which are being used for protecting of the crops, they are all chemicals and they are non-biodegradable. So what happens? They enter into the plant body, or we say they enter the food chain. So what happens? They get accumulated from plants. They are being taken to the herbivores, to the carnivores, and to the first trophic level, second, third, and fourth trophic level. So what is happening? These are getting accumulated progressively at each trophic level. And as human beings occupy the top level of any food chain, so what would you conclude from here? The maximum concentration of these chemicals is accumulated in our bodies. So this is magnifying, or we say the amount of chemicals is continuously accumulating or increasing from one trophic level to another, and human beings being at the top of the all trophic levels, so the maximum concentration of these chemicals gets accumulated in our bodies. So this phenomena is known as biological magnification. This is the reason why a food chain such as wheat and rice, vegetables and fruits, and even meat, they contain various amounts of pesticides residues. Even if we get vegetables and all from the market, and of course they are sprayed with the various pesticides and all, we may wash them, but still those are the ones which were sprayed outside, the ones which have already gone into the DNA, which has already gone into the genes, or within the body of the plants and animals. So they are not going to be removed. So there are residues of them which are gradually increasing from one level to another, and the maximum concentration is there in our bodies. So we say that this is said to be the biological magnification, and these pesticides cannot be removed by washing because they've gone into the inside the body, or we say gone into the DNA, or they've gone into the genes, and they are passed on from one trophic level to another. So it's very important that the use of these chemicals is less, as they are accumulating at each and every trophic level. So we'll continue with the next topic in the next video.